Uh, Hello guys, good afternoon. It's afternoon, yes. So good afternoon, and I want us to do the daily outlook as well as maybe some sort of weekly outlook because it's the beginning of the week and I did not trade yesterday and today will be I will be taking my first trades and I will be looking for positions. So in this particular stream, we will be looking uh, at gold, silver, and DXY to be particular. And maybe before I start, I just want to share the poster right here. So just a minute before I send the link to my channel. So yes, so we can get started on that daily outlook. And before we start, I just want to just share this with you guys. On August 10th, I want to commence on the 6 weeks of intensive mentorship. So it will be 6 weeks of intense mentorship, and only 5 slots are available. I'm only taking 5 traders. So the charges are only $149, and at the end of it all, you should be able to be doing what you see me doing on a daily, which is the technical analysis that I do, which is ICT concepts basically. Then I will also be giving you a two-step 5K funded account just to kickstart your trading, and it will be a free challenge. It will be a free account given to you, and then you will also be getting a free physical copy of the Disciplined Trader book, which is a book by Mark Douglas, a very good book that will help you in your psychology. And some of these psychology things we will be talking about them in the 6 weeks of mentorship. We have 2 weeks dedicated to that, so we will be covering that. Then you will be getting access to my daily signals for the next 2 months after that, and then you will also be getting end of week review with me for the next uh 2 months as well. So I will be working with 5 traders only for the next 6 weeks, and I hope some of you will be part of that. So yeah, let's get into the analysis. You can just DM me directly if you are interested in that. So yeah, let's get started, and we will start off on the daily chart as usual. So let's go to gold on the daily chart. So this is gold actually. So just want to go over to the daily chart and see what we actually have. So on gold, the daily chart, what we actually have, let me just delete this. So I did mention, I have been mentioning that we are in some form of consolidation after we broke this low right here. So we have been in a consolidation from around 25th June up to today. So that has been over a month of consolidation. So right now I want to see bearish price action. I want to see some of these lows going to be swept. But before we go to that, let's see what price did yesterday on Monday. So yesterday on Monday, I was anticipating that price will sweep this swing high, or probably this high 41.12, and then probably 41.20 before we continue to the downside. But as you know, as is the case with a consolidation, you won't always see what you are anticipating to see. So it looks like the change in state right here is holding price to the downside. So we will be looking at DXY to see what the daily chart is doing. All right. So when I look at DXY, I notice that the fair value gap that I wanted to be retested, I had been mentioning this from last week, and I can see that it is being respected. Not really being respected, it has already been rebalanced, but the order block is the one that is holding price to the upside. As you can see, this order block right here, this daily order block. So that is the PDRA that I am observing, and the reaction we get on that PDRA is um, the only thing that will tell me how I will be approaching gold tomorrow, maybe today and tomorrow actually, because this is a bullish daily order block, and I want to see price rejecting from there. I do not want to see price disrespecting that level. So if we can get the kind of reaction we are getting right now, then it will be good to get some sales off of gold without going to sweep liquidity. So let's see what silver did on the same daily chart, because right now we are on the daily chart. So let's see what silver has been doing on the daily chart. So on silver we got a huge, so yes, As I have told you, we got a really tricky Monday yesterday. This is the sweep that I wanted to see on the upside, but apparently it happened to the downside. So this is a liquidity sweep, so we can just mark it like that. And it is a liquidity sweep, and this is what we call a rejection candle. When you see a candle with such a long wick to one side and then it closes within the range of the previous day. So for example, in this price action, Friday was the previous day, and you can see that price wicked all the way to the downside and closed just above that level. So that becomes a very important level to notice, a very important candle to notice. So when I look at silver, we did not sweep that low, so that becomes an SMT, because this is 29th July low, which is previous week low, I suppose. So it was swept here. We swept previous week low on this, on silver, so it means we are quite bullish, a little bit bullish. But on DXY we are showing some signs of respecting that bullish order block. Yes, bullish order block. So let's see how price can react to this level first. So looking at that. So what you're seeing me doing right here is what I do in the charts until I get something that is as clear as day. So I have not looked at the charts ever since Sunday when we were live on TikTok with around 50 people. So yeah, uh, that's that's an SMT, because I cannot assume that, I cannot ignore, I cannot ignore the fact that the previous week low has been swept. Of course, a previous week low is a major sell side liquidity, so as soon as it's swept, of course I expect some level of reaction. And you can see that on this, on gold, we got a minor sell side liquidity sweep in form of a previous day low being swept. So it I think this order block will not be holding because of that. Okay, so you can see that on Monday, price tried to print some form of bullish candle, but I think we had opened with a gap, which we can see when we go to the lower time frames. So yes, you can see that when we go to the 4-hour chart, we had opened with a new week opening gap, so right here, and price is currently trading above that. So I think what we have right here on DXY is that we have been reacting from this 4-hour fair value gap. This is a 4-hour fair value gap, which is some form of breakaway gap because it's the second one. And then we are reacting off of that. It has a liquidity sweep right here, a previous session liquidity sweep, which is very clear. So we can mark that. Then, so we're just trying to see where price might go. And if that is the case, then I am asking myself, where does price wants to go next? And if that is the case, then this becomes relative equal lows. Just a minute. Yes, so this become relative equal lows, and if those are relative equal lows, then that could mean that is the next target for DXY. Then maybe after sweeping the relative equal lows, we can take out some liquidity here, because on the daily chart I was thinking that price will get a very nice reaction from that daily order block, but we are getting, it seems price will keep dropping and it will invalidate this one. But on the daily chart, looking at just how Monday printed, we actually respected that order block, because we respected the body candle did not close above or uh, below this order block, so it should be holding price to the upside. And if necessary, then maybe the next order block that we need to revisit is this one right here, and I think this one is stronger. And the reason is, a good order block is the one that has maybe swept liquidity, high probability. So you can see that it swept liquidity here. Additionally, it did two things: it swept liquidity and was able to rebalance an imbalance as well as this new day opening gap right here between 14th May and 15th May. We had a new day opening gap. You can see the small gap right there. So we could say that price is gunning for that area. So let's see on the 4 hour if it's too far away. So yeah, I think that is the next level for DXY, because anytime I see something like this happening, I want to know where price is going. So I think DXY could be doing something like that, forming some sort of low of the month and then continuing to the upside. So let's go to the 4 hour and break. Actually, we can break yesterday's price action even better. Excuse me. We can break yesterday's price action even better and see what it actually did. So I think this is where liquidity was swept. We swept that sell side and then price started to rally to the upside. Okay, so this is the 1 hour chart actually, and you can see that we have a new week opening gap right here. So I should mark it on the 4 hour if it's visible. So you can see we have this gap. So let's mark the new week opening gap, then just a minute. Okay, it's streaming well. Hi, we have this new week opening gap, the NWOG, and looking at how price is reacting upon it, it seems that we are in a very tight consolidation, because it's only Tuesday and we have played around that area almost one, two, then three, then four, and then 5 times. So it's only Tuesday, uh, less than 2 days since the market opened, and we have just played around we have consolidated, or we have retested this new week opening gap more than 4 times. So uh, that is very bad price action, and that should tell you that we are in a very tight consolidation. So that being said, I can already see some other buy side liquidity being swept within that price action there, and then this changes state. So now that is how you actually confirm that you are now in a very tight range. You are now trading in a very small range, so the market is only covering a very small range, because even if we ignore the new week opening up and we just mark the the what we mark the new week open, you will notice that we haven't moved anywhere from the weekly open, because that is the weekly open. That is where the candle opened 40 at around 40.63, and you can see how many times we have retested that. We dropped a few pips, we retested it, traded above it, then went lower a little bit, swept this liquidity, traded above it, and now we are just stuck near it. So looking at that, my best bet will be going bullish in this price action. But then I look at what London has done, and it looks like it's forming some sort of bearish day. So I don't know why DXY is looking like it shouldn't be selling. So let's see about that. Let's see if you can mark that as a liquidity sweep, which means we have swept. Have we swept the previous week high, or that is Monday's high? So this is the weekly chart. I've just jumped to the weekly chart just to see what is really happening. Then daily, 4 hour and 1 hour. So we have swept the previous day's highs, previous session highs. Okay, so price could be getting, but where to? I think we can sweep this liquidity and then continue back to the upside. That will be my best bet right now. So because this was a liquidity sweep, ask yourself where it's going, and I can see the two levels. I can see this sell side liquidity, then this small imbalance right here, and then this maybe form propulsion order block. So that could be the level where price can retest and then get some reaction, because looking at DXY, I don't think DXY will be buying today, so I expect if it's selling, then I want to see the opposite on gold, which is buys. So, and I told you that I want to sell gold after DXY, after we have swept this 41.20 or at least 41.12. I don't know where it is. Where is it? Around, yeah, we need to sweep that liquidity before we continue to the downside. So that is another reason that I want to look for buys in this price action. So I think this is just a Judas swing, and I expect price maybe to start getting some reaction from those levels. So let's see how price will react to this level, because I think DXY gives you a more clear bias of how to approach gold. So if that is the case, then I want to see something like that being respected. Not being respected ideally, just being retested, right? So let's see how price reacts to this level. Okay, so yeah, I think that is what I have. And then yeah, I will just be looking for entries within this order block, within this fair value gap, and ideally after this sell side liquidity sweep, I should be looking for some positions within this fair value gap or this order block. We have two levels that can be used, so, and both are very strong and could be used to get some good entries. So let's look at silver on the same time frame and see what we can actually see. So on silver, you will notice that have we swept the highs? Yes, we have swept both highs. Then we are currently retesting. Where are we retesting? So yeah, I will be looking for buys during the New York session. And yes, my targets should be the buy side liquidity that are resting there, because here we do not have any hanging sell side liquidity, but which means that this is a generated sell side liquidity, this one right here, which I have marked, and it was generated yesterday during Asia session. So that basically means I want to see the Asia low being swept and then price reacting off from that. So let's see how price opens during the 8:39:30 window and see if we can get that sweep. But basically, if we do not get that sweep, I will be looking for that trade using a continuation order block, because if I know the direction, then I can hunt that entry using the continuation order block. You have seen me doing that several times. So yeah, that is what I will be doing during the New York session. That is it for the daily outlook. I will be looking for longs during this session, as I expect DXY to be dropping to the downside. Something else you can notice is that we formed a very strong 4-hour rejection candle, which dipped into the fair value gap, and the 4-hour change in state has held price to the downside so far. So let's see if we can get another one in these 14 minutes. If we can get another 4-hour change in state here, closing in 14 minutes, then it will be nice. Then yeah, that's just about it, and see you on the next one. The next video is for Nasdaq and SP 500. So if you trade those two, check out the next video that I'm about to drop. Yeah, so this becomes a 4-hour order block. So yes, yes, that's actually what I want to see. This is a 4-hour order block, a very nice 4-hour order block. So let's see how price reacts to that, and then we can trade that move to the upside up to maybe 41.20, where I want to see that liquidity sweep happening, and then we trade back to the downside. So yes, I will be looking for those entries. If I don't get this sweep, like I have told you, if I don't get that sweep, I will be looking for continuation order blocks. If we break this high without getting that sweep, I will be looking for continuation order blocks, because now this is looking like generated sell side liquidity, this low and this low, which has to be swept during that window, that time window of 8:30 to 9:30, or maybe just between right now 7, which is going to enter right now, which is the New York open, kill zone open. So the kill zone runs from 7 to 11. So let's see how price reacts around those areas, and then we can get our entries. All right, so it's a how many pip window, 4019 to around